Hello, and welcome to Moscato and Tea. This is the show for all things beauty, business, and community with your hosts, Inez and Chiquita, keeping it raw, real, and unfiltered.
Hello, hello, hello. Oh,
you're still trying to do the singing thing, aren't you?
I'm trying to do it. It's not catching on?
No, not at all. You need to come up with something else. You need to come up with
a
better... so I see somebody needs to open up the Moscato already.
I'm trying. We got a lot to talk about. Woohoo! We got a lot going on.
Okay,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Now that I got some drink.
Okay, yeah, like pour mine. The person who opens the bottle pours to the other person first, and then the other person, whatever.
It's been a long week.
I know, it's been a long week for you.
Yes, it has.
So with that said,
cheers to another episode.
Okay, awesome. And then
we got some fun stuff today.
Yes.
We have a wonderful guest. I'm very excited. So
Absolutely.
Welcome to the show, Brenda Williams.
Hey!
Hey!
How
are you guys?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We know we were, I know you're probably crazy busy and everything, but we wanted to kind of steal a couple minutes from you just to get to know you, get our listeners in on what you're working on and all the different avenues that you're hitting and stuff like that. And so we truly, truly appreciate you coming on the show. And I found your information through another podcasting group that I'm in. So it's specifically for women entrepreneurs. So I'm really grateful for you to come on the show today. And let's just get into it. So
all right.
Yeah. How did you get started in the world of being basically an entrepreneur? You do writing, you do poetry, you have radio. What's your background? How did you get started with all this?
Oh, wow. So what's my background? I went to school. I went to school for Spanish, and I have a minor in international marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my educational background. But poetry has always been my love, and really poetry has been like the catalyst to open up other doors. I need freedom, so I know what my drivers are. And so, as a poet and an expressor, you do need freedom to do so. But, once you kind of get a little bit of a taste of it, it kind of gets good to you, and you're like, ooh, I need more of this. So if any of your listeners are artists, an artist has to look at themselves as an entrepreneur. Because if you just look at solely as an artist, that's where we have that prefix starving, and I'm just not. I don't do starving. So I figured that I had to create capacity.
Yes.
And before the word brand was being tossed around our lexicon, I knew that I needed to build a platform. I needed to build a platform for myself. I needed to be really specific about what type of poetry I did, because I went to school for marketing. Like, I knew I had to look at things the way other people do, not just like, okay, I suffer from my art and you should just get it. No, you have to be really specific.
Big time, big time.
Yeah. So people like their categories. They like to be able to put you someplace. So I had to really kind of differentiate myself amongst other poets. And so I created a platform, hosted a poetry series at my local library, and it took off. So I love that it was a very diverse poetry series. We had everyone from 8 to 80, black, white, gay, straight, everything in between. They came out. And so that was sort of the catalyst for some of the other business ventures that I went into, mainly being bilingual. So I started Proyecto Cultural, which is my bilingual consultancy. We do translations, interpretations, and so we'll be launching our own podcast. Yeah.
Nice.
And then the Power of Girlhood. Yeah, thank you, ladies. Yeah. And then the Power of Girlhood came out of a need because I was a Spanish teacher, and so I thought, okay, either we're going to mentor or we're going to teach. And so being both was very difficult, so I took a leap of faith, left education, and developed the Power of Girlhood into the program that it is today.
Yeah, that's what I really, really want to touch on is your organization, the Power of Girlhood. How did that, the process of starting that organization come about? Because I know we have a lot of listeners. I know myself and a couple of friends I know would be interested in starting something in nonprofit, specifically for girls in education. How did you go about that process?
Well, I've always worked in urban education, and urban education has its own layers of complexity in terms of what it takes to actually educate a child. So I was in environments where many students may have been technically homeless, and so they couch surf. So meaning that they don't have an actual home to go home to. They may stay with relatives, they may stay with friends. So when you don't know where you're going to sleep at night, if you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, it can create, and then the trauma, you have to teach the child that's in front of you. So there are things that you have to take in consideration. And so when there's an act out of violence, the fighting that girls sometimes get into, risky behaviors that she gets into, there's a reason. You know, there's a why. There's a why behind that. And so amplifying that over, you know, however many students you have in the classroom or school, I decided that it would really be beneficial for a program to exist that really addressed a whole girl. And now we've added another layer where we're now addressing parents, because I can't take your girl, develop her, give her skills and resources if at home it's not going to be
the foundation. If you don't have the foundation built up, you won't be able to, you know, get that the young women and stuff to actually be able to be motivated if their parents aren't. Now that's actually a really good point. With everything with that, with the program. With the program? Do you have it where? I know it's in your area, but are you going to do it nationwide and everything?
Nationwide and global. So I had an opportunity to take about 15 kids to Panama back in 2013. Yeah, and so we did a service learning opportunity. And while I was down there, I had a conversation with the teacher, and the issues were the same in Panama as they are in the United States. So then that says to me that this is really bigger than just a domestic problem. This is a global issue. And in fact, we have a program called the International Day of the Girl that is sanctioned by the United Nations. And so, so that program has been in existence for 8 years. We've been celebrating it for 7. And the United Nations says on October 11th, this is the day that they're going to pause, and the world needs to take notice of the issues that impact girls. So if you think about girls who, you know, we look at human trafficking, I mean, that's an issue all over the United States. That's not just over there in third world developing countries. That's here. When we think about, you know, for Black and brown girls, the identity of colorism and hair texture, I mean, those things, sadly, they still exist. So, I think that it is highly important that we have girls at the decision-making tables for things that affect their lives. So we have an event, and we this year brought in 200 girls across 5 districts, different school districts, to go over 13 content areas, such as developing resolutions around human trafficking. What are the barriers to education? You know, what are media stereotypes, gender stereotypes, identity? What are the resolutions that we can help girls so that they can better cope and deal? Because, I mean, just this morning I watched the news program, and there were 4 parents that talked about their children, all of them under 18 who committed suicide. That's a problem.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's super crazy. So my question is, are you finding in your programs, because you do speak Spanish, and Spanish is your, you got a degree in Spanish. Are you finding it that are you getting the same amount of ratio between Black and brown girls? Or are you finding that the Latino community is embracing you a little bit? Because I'm an Afro-Latina, and I know how hard and how difficult it can be. Yay. So I know it can be very difficult penetrating or like getting into the Latino community and having that respect with the Latino community. It's very hush-hush. Everything is very quiet. We don't talk about things. It's in both, in both areas. But are you finding that, are you able to, because you do speak Spanish and are you able to break those boundaries and those walls and infiltrate and bringing these young Latina ladies young girls and, into your program?
Yeah, so, the Latino community has been very supportive of me since day one, and I think it's because I'm bilingual, but also, my accent tends to be, when they tell me I sound Puerto Rican or Dominican or Cuban, and so my physicality looking at me, is like, oh, she speaks English very well.
Right.
That's my first language.
Right.
So the communication has been great, yes, because I speak Spanish, but I think also the cultural competency or understanding, I think that's also helped. That's also helped too. And and the issues are also the same. Like I did a leadership training for a group of amazing Latino women who are in sectors of education, nonprofit, and also executive roles. And that was as a result of doing work, in the community. And we're seeing that, we're so much stronger together. And I just would love to see more unity between Black, Brown. We suffer the same.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what I was getting at. It's like the key. I know for myself, like I get it from both ends, especially growing up. When I was growing up, it was a time where, it was very difficult. Black girls, because I look Black. I am Black. Like, don't get me wrong. I am Black. I look at myself. I am a Black girl. The Black community had a really hard time with me because I spoke another language. I spoke Spanish. Spanish is my first language. English is my second. So it was a difficult time. And then, the Latino community, it was also kind of like an oust because, now you speak Spanish, but you don't look what they think is the typical. But this is I find this more on the West Coast than I do on the East Coast. East Coast is a little bit, but I guess it's just regions of, countries. So just how do you bring about, because I'm like, look, we're all in the same play. I got the same Black girl problems. I got the Latino girl, and I got woman problems. We all got the same issues. How do you bring about that so that everybody in the community, can feel like we're all together, and that's, and we're all one, and we're women. Just being women alone is hard. So why do we have to, decompartmentize or, say this, or people always thought that I was better because I spoke Spanish and not realizing, like, listen, I don't choose what family I'm born into. It's just the way of the nature. I don't think of myself any better. It's just my parents speak Spanish. Like, what am I going to do? My family speaks Spanish. If I want to communicate with my peeps, I got to be able to, So that's what I was asking, like, especially with this organization, are you teaching are you finding that your girls are having an understanding, are bonding and realizing that they're one and that they're all have the same issues through your program?
Yeah, so we break the girls up. So we have 200 girls, and so they're African American, Latina, but we also have a significant Muslim population that participates.
Nice.
So we have another layer of diversity. And so what we have found is they work together. There's never been a murmur of, I don't want to work with her, or she's weird, or she's different. They really come together, and that's the whole premise, is that they spend a whole day together. And typically, in many urban centers, right, this ethnic group is on one side of town, that ethnic group is on another side of town, and so it's very rare that all ethnicities will come together. And I find that it's important, and it was done with intentionality. You're going to grow up, and you're going to have to leave your 4-block radius.
Right.
And so how are you going to navigate? And it's not saying that you need to shift your identity, because I'm all Black girl magic.
Right. Me too.
A little bit chica con tumbao. I'm for it.
I'm all of it.
For it. Okay. Hold that space, but you're also going to have to be able to navigate your space with the majority. And so then what does that look like? And then if people that don't look like you, think like you, believe like you, so how are you going to hold that space? Because, you could easily go to work and go home, but I mean, that's not living, and that's not really beneficial, because when you are, in teams at work or just moving through your life, you're always going to need the support of people. And I think that's our problem. And that's one of those ugly talons of colonialism that makes us think that one group is better than the other, or we have superiority or inferiority complexes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that's a really good point. As I know, when I was growing up and I was young, I was a teenager. That was where do I find my place? It was difficult, with the Black community. It was difficult with the Latino community. It was kind of like, so as I got older, that's not really a big issue anymore. As we get older, we kind of comprehend and we understand and we, learn, and you could be very diverse. So I think this is a really good, program and introduction to realizing that outside of the, once you move, there's a bigger, a bigger world. So that's dope. So you say your organization is nonprofit, correct?
So we are a program of Allied Media, and Allied Media is our fiscal sponsor. So they're our fiduciary. So we're a program under the nonprofit Allied Media. So shout out to Allied Media. They are a media organization that wants to create a more just world. So their whole mission is to support programs like mine, but also LGBTQ organizations and programs, Muslim programs, and of course, definitely women, cis or trans women, because their whole thing is this: if we don't have people on the ground doing the work, and grassroots organizations like mine need the support. It's like, with the problem is big and the workers are few. We really, 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 we really need agency as such as they provide, because the work doesn't stop. I mean, we have larger orgs like, Girl Scouts of America or Girls Inc., but yet we still have the issues.
Right. Very true.
That's very true.
Very true.
There are not too many hands helping out.
No. Donations,
that's what I was gonna say.
That's
what I was gonna say. Is there are you getting any support from like donations or like government funding at all? How is that working? Yeah, so if your listeners want to check out the powerofgirlhood.org, you can check us out there. You can go to alliedmedia.org and click on the Power of Girlhood for projects and give us a donation, because there is no donation too small. And that's what, the beauty of our organization really is that it's comprised, we're 100% volunteer based, and we collaborate with other organizations. So we do receive sponsorships. We have received grants in the past. But, as I tell people, when people say, oh, well, you should just get a grant. Okay, honey, grant writers cost.
They do.
Let's just keep this thing all the way 100. They cost money, and then grants they're not guaranteed. You can apply for 20 grants and you might get one. And when you have organizations like myself where everyone's kind of competing for the same dollar,
right,
it can be very difficult. And so whether I get the grant or not, I'm still going to have a girl that, I need to take care of because of, mental health. I still have the girl that needs to be taken care of because her mom lost her job. So the work and the urgency and the need don't stop because I get a grant or not.
Right. No, exactly.
So,
it's nonstop.
Yeah.
Big time.
So that's good to know. So that way, our listeners can hear out there that, they still could use, your organization could still use donation and support and volunteer, and so forth.
And we'll put the link in everything.
Yeah, we'll put our, the link, all your info on our website and all of that. So,
thank you.
Yeah, so listeners can go ahead and check it out. Because I think this is a really good organization today. Our society, the way we're moving, social media, things of that. We have a lot of young girls that feel the pressure, and we're not
the bullying, and all that stuff.
And like we're not seeing that, like the coherency and just being able to count on each other as young girls and women to help each other out. So and support. So I think this is an awesome program, and I think that it's really important that girls out there and parents out there know that there are resources to help them, during this time and to support their young girls to becoming strong young women.
No, big time.
So, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. I'm really grateful. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So now we'll go transition into a little bit of tea time.
Yes, like girl,
yes.
You get the tea. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, gotta
tea time.
Gotta get a little tea time.
All right.
So it's gonna be a little rapid fire questions, and so I'll start off, and hopefully it won't hurt you too bad. So first question: favorite guilty pleasure.
Favorite guilty pleasure. I think y'all gonna get me. Y'all listeners gonna get me. So my favorite guilty pleasure. I'm shamed, but I love it. Vampire Diaries.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. Hey, we all have our one thing.
Yeah.
That's okay. All right. Let's see the next one. Worst habit.
Worst habit. Well, it depends on how you look at it. I'm a bit of a wino because my sister calls me an alcoholic. I'm like, no, I'm not an alcoholic. I'm a wino.
Listen.
Oh, yeah. We're right here
with you. Okay. Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Let's see. If you can have one celebrity support or come in and talk at your nonprofit, who would it be and why?
Okay, so one celebrity to come in and talk. So it would be Anthony Mackie.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Falcon baby. So I would love to have the Black Falcon come in, not just because he's fine, that too, but because I really appreciate his work ethic. And I remember reading an article about him that when he was putting himself through school, he went to Juilliard, he would take the set, and his father was a carpenter. He learned how to make his own furniture. And so I think when you hear stories about people who are intrepid and people who come from like similar backgrounds, that you can learn how to survive when you have when you have a special set of skills, and especially, going to higher education. I definitely think that he would be an amazing speaker to speak to my girl.
Okay. I love it.
All right. Nez?
Okay. Favorite superhero and why?
Favorite superhero, Thor, because she's bad.
Okay. Okay. I love it. Okay. Your celebrity crush.
So name just one?
Yeah, I know. It's hard to limit it to one.
Because I'm so when it comes to my celebrity crush, it's so promiscuous. But let's see, who am I in love with like at the moment? So right now, I am super in love with Forever Idris Elba.
Girl, yes. That's mine forever and ever. I don't care you married not. I look at him from afar.
Oh yeah.
I just saw a recent rerun with him on Girlfriends, and I was like,
oh yes, I did too.
Like, yes, he's still fine. Okay, and then last but not least, so if you because you do poetry, right, and you do your poetry readings and everything else, if you could have any poet come to one of your readings and do a reading, who would it be?
Living or dead?
It doesn't matter. Living or dead.
We would need to resurrect Rumi.
Very nice.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a very, very nice.
Awesome.
So I love it. That's our favorite part. It kind of gives us a little bit of a,
get to know the person.
Get to know the person a bit and know your personality. So we do appreciate that. So again, go ahead, Brenda. We loved having you. Thank you so much for taking the time and coming out here and talking about yourself, about your organization. We definitely are fans and we're definitely our supporters. Women supporting women is huge. We will have so really quickly, just give all your information out, your website, your Instagram, if you have all your social media, everything. Shout it out so people can hear you. We'll also have it on our website, but we always love to have you shout it out.
Fantastic. So on social media, Instagram, The Power of Girlhood, Twitter, The Power of Girlhood, and then on Facebook, we have a Facebook page, The Power of Girlhood. Our official website is thepowerofgirlhood.org, and you can go to alliedmedia.org and click a link, and it'll take you right to The Power of Girlhood, where you can make a monthly, because we love sustainers, you can make a monthly donation. As little as $25 a month would make a huge difference in our program.
Nice.
Okay.
Lovely.
Thank you so much. I do want to say one thing, Brenda. If the process to become a speaker at the foundation and stuff like that, how do you go about that? Because I know with Nez, she does beauty and all that stuff. I think that'll be really good to have someone come in from the beauty community and talk with the girls about, taking care of themselves and stuff like that. What's the process like?
So the best thing is to reach out to me directly. You can go to BrehendaWilliams.com and just fill out a contact form and say, hey, I'd like to be a speaker at The Power of Girlhood or with The Power of Girlhood, because we do have in-school programming, so we can definitely set up Zoom so that the girls can see you. So we can definitely do Zoom, Skype. I do all of it. We can do Google Hangout, however you like to do it. We can even do video through Facebook. I love using technology. So even if you're not in our immediate area or state and you just feel like The Power of Girlhood is a space that you want to share your time, talent, or treasure, we can definitely set up that technology and make it happen.
For sure. You know what? As a matter of fact, good idea. I will be in touch because I think it's important. Being a woman in color, I'm in the skincare industry, and it's a very I'm in the skincare. I don't do hair. I do a different kind of hair, but I'm not hair or makeup, which I think is a huge whenever anybody sees women of color or Latinas, they obviously think you're automatically makeup or you're automatically hair. I'm actually in skincare. It's an amazing industry. I think it'd be good for these young girls to understand that a lot of these pictures, a lot of these things that they see on Instagram is not real. Mm-hmm. It's not the reality of what what it is, how to take care of your skin, how to be able to feel good about yourself, and really about empowering girls from feeling good about inside and outside. I mean, it's all encompassed. Acne is a big deal. Mm-hmm. Girls feeling, left out about their acne and seeing, things like that. So I'll definitely be in contact, girl. I think
yes, please.
We could definitely do something with that. So, we'll go from there. So, anyways,
Fantastic.
Before we get caught up in other things and so forth, we know your time is precious.
But you guys are so amazing. Like, we could just we could just riff all day long.
Yes.
On wine, boys, and girlhood. So
yes, absolutely. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up and say thank you so much for coming out, taking the time and chopping it up with us and talking with us. To all our listeners out there, please, that Chiquita and I are very passionate about the thing that, our podcast and about the people that we bring on. We only bring on people that we think that are that impact the world, impact us. And I think this is a good, very important organization with our young women and our young girls that are going out here, support the cause, donate. It doesn't matter where you are. A donation it does help. As she said, from whatever you can afford or do. We love it. If you're in her area, reach out, find out how you can do volunteer work and help these young girls out, because I think it's really, really important. So, again, Berhinda, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for talking with us. That's why I always say coming in, but, phone calling in, because I'm used to
I know what you mean. It feels like we're here in person.
Yes.
We're together in spirit. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later.
We'll talk to you soon. And to all our listeners, like always, we'll have all her information on our Instagram, Facebook, all of our social media website. You know how we do.
Yes.
And with that said, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Till next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Take a little time to enjoy your brand of Moscato and Tea with us every day. Subscribe, rate, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and MoscatoandTea.com.